gotta step up.
Emma, you share your story and your dating journey like so openly on your socials. So today we wanted to get you in to like talk about what makes you talk about it so openly, why you wanted to start it, and actually about your healing journey as well. Because we often talk about healing and people need to heal, but what does that actually like involve when we say that? I think some people don't necessarily know what that means.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've done the work personally on my own stuff, but not within relationships. And when I watch your stuff, I'm like, she's really doing the work. And I think a lot of people would learn from it and show that you can do the work that side as well, not just personally, but in a relationship, you can still keep working.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So maybe take us back to the beginning, because I know that you had a relationship coach, you're also in therapy. So maybe start from relationship coach and kind of why you decided you wanted to go.
Okay, so relationship coaching, I had been single for about a year when I started that. And my last relationship was very toxic. My relationship before that wasn't great. And there was like these string of bad relationship after bad relationship. And at that time, I don't even think you could call it a situationship. It was like basically involved with this guy who didn't want a relationship, but I was still lusting after him.
Yeah, I'd say that's a situationship.
Yeah, and it was like, I was just so involved in something that I shouldn't be involved in, basically, and I was breaking my own heart. Oh. And so it got to the stage where, you know, when you're sick of your own shit, and it was like, I'm going to keep repeating these patterns unless I do something about it. And I was in therapy, but therapy, obviously, I talk very in depth about my eating disorder, childhood trauma, stuff like that. So I wanted something quite niche where I could just talk to somebody about relationships and work on that. Because I knew the stuff I had to work on, like my anxious attachment, like was sky high. I was like, I've got to do something about that. I've got to do something about thinking that all men are liars, all men are cheaters, all men manipulate. Because I was like, I'm doing stuff on my own, but it's not working. Yeah. I'm watching all the videos, I'm following all the people on Instagram, but it's not clicking because I'm in the same situation that I always find myself in. So that's when I turned to a relationship coach, because I thought I need some professional help.
So you went to a relationship coach when you were single, didn't you?
Yes.
So how did they help like structure certain thoughts?
So I went to her and I told her what I wanted to work on. And we started where we literally like picked apart every relationship that I've had, which, do you know what, was hard, but also really needed. Like sometimes it's nice to have empathy from somebody to be like, yeah, do you know what? Like you have gone through quite a lot.
Yeah, empathy for yourself. Like they can teach you, like be kind to yourself as well. And like, it's okay that you feel this way.
Exactly. And for someone to be like, yeah, what he did, like that's not okay. But it doesn't have to rule the rest of your life. So we started by picking apart all of that and then picking out all the patterns and all the behaviours that I keep repeating. And then we started working on what I was going through at that time with the guy that I was involved in. And so it was really good to have that in a parallel at the same time, because it's like we would split our sessions. I would talk about him and she would give me advice, and then we'd like relate that back to things from the past, because it would be like, right, well, why are you choosing him? Why do you want him to choose you? What does he remind you of? And I'd be like, oh, he reminds me of my ex-boyfriend. And all these things would like link up together. And then we started working on the negative beliefs that I had around men, and with her being like, do you really believe that all men are shit? And I was like, well, no, like I know there's good men. So she would be like, give me an example of good men. What good men do you have in your life? Like, and that was a struggle, I'm not going to lie. That was a struggle. Yeah. And she would be like, you know, give me an example of people you have in your life where they have a really good relationship. Again, that was a struggle. I don't feel like I'm surrounded by loads of people who have an idyllic relationship. But yeah, session by session, we were kind of picking everything apart. And then she would give me homework as well, which I was a bit resistant to homework because, I mean, I didn't like it in school and I don't like it as an adult. But it was good. A lot of it was like journaling prompts. So it wasn't like hard-hitting homework, but it was stuff where you have to set aside time and sit down and really like unpack some difficult stuff that you're going through.
Do you think because of where you was at, like the place that you was in, you were very accountable Like you've just said, like, I know I was doing stuff wrong. I know I was causing half this. Like you said, didn't you, in the episode past, like, this was me now. This is me now causing this. Do you think it would have been different if you were going in denying everything and being like, this is all happening to me and I don't know what I'm doing wrong? But it sounds like you were in the best space to be able to get into relationship coaching. Is that something you'd recommend to other people, is to get yourself in the right space before heading in there?
100%. Look, you have to be accountable, okay?
100%.
Like, whatever relationships you've had or situations you've got yourself involved in, however rubbish or despicable that man has been, you have always played a part in that, okay? And it doesn't make you a bad person part at all, but I played a part because I stayed in those relationships. Okay, I chose them over me. I abandoned my own needs to suit them. So once you start taking responsibility, I feel like that's when you can start moving forward. But if you're in denial and if you're sitting there and saying, no, I'm perfect, like there's nothing wrong with me, then you're not going to get as much out of it.
Yeah, you can't control somebody else. What you can control is what you do and what you say. So instead of blaming somebody else and saying, this happened, you can't change them. There's nothing you can do, but you can change you. And that's so important. I'm so exactly the same when it comes to accountability. You've put yourself in that position and sometimes it's okay to be like, oh, I did this wrong and I wouldn't do it again. And I know that I wouldn't let my boundaries be taken for granted again in that way.
I literally said exactly that in the last episode as well. Like, we need to just stick to our boundaries each and every time, exactly what you said, like just not keep putting up with this stuff. I wonder if that's why men are less likely to take themselves to therapy than women, though. Do you think women are better at taking accountability?
Yeah, 100%. I think we are, because I think with men as well, men typically struggle with their emotions as well. And I think a lot of my accountability has been actually accepting my emotions and becoming more emotionally available myself. Because a big thing that I found in relationship coaching, a big thing that actually brought me there, is I was attracting all these emotionally unavailable men. And that's such a buzzword at the moment, isn't it? Like emotional unavailability. And I was attracting all of these men. And then I saw something on social media that said, if you're attracting all of these men, it's because you are also emotionally unavailable. And I felt personally victimised when I read that, right?
I actually do right now.
Yeah, I feel attacked. I'm like, no, it's definitely not me.
But also like, well, maybe.
And I was exactly like that. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm so emotionally available. I talk about my feelings. They know how I feel. But then when I actually sat down and thought about it, I was like, no, actually, I get what they're talking about. Because in relationships, it's like, I'll go to a certain level of talking about my emotions and then I won't. And then it's like, I don't let them into the real me. And that's what I want from a partner. I want them to let me in. But how can I expect that from someone else if I'm not also that person as well?
So how did a relationship coach help you to see that for yourself? Like, what did it require? You must have had to put in so much work to like...
Or was it that when you saw that post that said that, was it like because you're saying it to me now and it's like a click in my head, like I overshare, but is my oversharing in my brain, is that me being emotionally available? It's not really, is it? It's just sharing a load of stuff. So was it like that? Did you see something and think, oh, down here?
Yeah, that was like a light bulb when I saw that. And I was exactly the same as you. I was like, when I'm in relationships, I share everything. I tell them about my eating disorder. I tell them about my mental health and what's gone on. But yeah, factually, I will tell them I had this, I went through that. But I don't tell them how that felt. I won't tell them how that affects my day-to-day life now. So it's different from oversharing and being factual. And it's different from actually sharing how that makes you feel, how that affects you on a day-to-day life, basically.
Yeah, we kind of say, here's information, we've shared. That was emotional. It wasn't. Now you're saying this to me now, I'm like, it wasn't then, was it? You just shared the basic of the information because it feels like overshare. It feels like when you say the word oversharing, that means you're giving a lot to yourself, but giving a lot to them, but maybe you're not.
Yeah, because I've given lads credit that they're emotionally available just because they've told me an emotional story. Literally in the last episode we were speaking like that as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So with the relationship coach, that's what we did. We broke it down.
Right.
And she was like, what is your definition of emotional availability? She was like, how have you shown up as that in past relationships? And when I would say that, she'd be like, No, that's not emotional availability. So then it was trying to think, well, what is it and how can I offer that to a future relationship? So a lot of the work with her, I mean, our sessions would literally be like 2 hours long, right? They were in depth. Like I needed a nap afterwards. Like it was a lot. And it's a lot of delving into the past and then looking at how are those past relationships affecting my current relationships?
Gosh, yeah. It's a lot, isn't it, to unpack? Were you, like, we're kind of having these moments of realisation, like, or did you find those moments happening a lot, like shocking yourself a little bit? And I guess it is quite hard to take accountability and realise as well, though.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. Because there's that moment of realisation where you're like, yeah, all of this stuff has happened and I have played a part in this. And there was a big part of me that was like, I'm 35 years old and I'm only realising this now, you know? Like there was a big part, I was like, I wish I knew this 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like my life could have been completely different. But everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
100%. We're all, I'm 30, we're all in the same boat.
Hey guys, I'm Daisy.
And I'm Sean.
And remember to like, follow and subscribe if you want to see more great content with us and of course our amazing guests.
And lots of dating advice and lessons learned.
We can't wait to see you next week.